What's up, everybody? Farah Hashim checking in again from Flick Refinery, and today we are introducing another album cover to our study of the iconic album covers. This week we're shooting Luther Vandross's album cover for A Secret Love. One of my favorite songs of all time when it comes to soul music is Knocks Me Off My Feet. It's actually a really simple setup, but they definitely did something a little bit different with the edit. Looks like we're gonna have to do a couple of different things in terms of the color. So on the jacket it looks like it's black and white, but on the face and on the hands it's blue. So we'll get into that. Enjoy the video and make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share button. Let's go. Alright, y'all. So the most important part of this whole album recreation process is to study what was done to get to the final result. We're not necessarily doing this just to recreate these for our own content. We're also creating these so that we can learn how to go about doing certain techniques and different aesthetics. So it's a challenge for me, getting out of my comfort zone and doing things I wouldn't usually do. And this image was a great example of me thinking that something was going to be pretty simple, but it actually turned out to be a little bit complex. So if we look over here at Luther, you know what I mean, he's giving us some kind of a blue steel, you know, I'm about to drop something on you type of a vibe. And instantly I'm looking at it, I see a black and white image, but the face and the hands and the skin and the hair has some kind of a blue gradient overlay. So off the top, I know that we got to go into Photoshop to get this done. There's just no way for me to get this done in a Lightroom or some kind of a not Photoshop situation. So we have a couple of options though, like do we flip it black and white first and then add the blue over top, or do we keep it color so that the blue is easier to get and then flip the rest black and white? One of the more powerful tools in Photoshop is the ability to mask out different layers. The idea behind it is I can paint a certain color, I can paint a certain texture, or whatever I want to change about the image, I can paint over the layer and have it be a really fine adjustment to where it's only hitting a specific spot. So obviously there's going to be one image, but I'm going to paint over with an overlay, and I'm going to mask out certain parts of this image and make these changes. Also, you know, for the shot itself, I was actually traveling when I did this, so I just did it with one light. If we study it for a quick second, you can definitely tell, you know, we have some kind of a light coming in. Coming in to the top of his head. You see that bright spot on the top of his forehead here. So obviously I'm being taught like this is something coming in here directly. You see the brightest spot is kind of toward the top of the crown of the head, whatever piece of the head that is, that piece right there. That light is coming in up top here. So obviously I'm going to angle my light down to kind of get this situation going. And one of these things I'm learning is you can learn also a lot about the light. Number one, I told you the eyes usually tell it all, but we don't have the eyes here. Looking back at this, I can see that there is some kind of a light on his glasses on the side there, right? So really, I'm thinking they use two light sources here, whereas I told you I only had one because I was moving around traveling with the family. So I did it with one. But if we really wanted to get it very similar to what's going on here, I see that light coming in on the top of the head. I also see that light coming in on the side of the glasses. And then obviously the brighter parts of the image, that those spots, the white spot here and on the knuckles, that's going to be coming from that main key light. But you can see on the jacket, like on the side here, the light is hitting and it's giving that shine to the jacket. So if you're going to set up to try to do something like this, you kind of have to play around and see how the light is hitting in order to get this specific look. And that's why I recommend in my other videos, definitely check out that lighting guide video that I put out. It's somewhere on the page. Just keep scrolling. All the content here is fly. We can use constant light to see exactly what we're going to get when we take the image. If I use a flash, I can get this done, but it's going to be a shot of flash, and then I look at the picture and see what happened, and then kind of adjust. Whereas when I'm using my constant light, I see exactly what I'm looking at. And it's just easier for me to recreate. So if I was going to be starting from the beginning, I'd be going with constant lights. That's another topic for another day. For this, we're gonna go ahead and hop over into Photoshop. Like I told you before, the plan is gonna be either recreating this thing in black and white and painting over some kind of this blue gradient overlay, or we can keep it color, get the face and the hands right, and then we can just black and white out the rest of it. So this should be pretty interesting. Let's see what happens when we hop into Photoshop. All right, fam, this is the raw image over here in Photoshop, and we're gonna go ahead and basically get started with our basic adjustments. You know, I'm gonna clean up the skin a little bit, just clean the image up a teeny bit, and then get into that color work that we saw on that album cover. So I already went ahead and recorded all of the work. Again, here I'm just making small adjustments, cleaning up different parts of my face. I started to do a little bit of dodge and burn work so that we can start to just smooth the skin out. On a lot of these album covers, you don't see a whole lot of blemishes and things, so I just wanted to smooth that thing out. And then here, I'm bringing up the sample image because I always want to be able to look and see where I'm at and where I gotta go. Off the jump, I noticed, oh shoot, I took this picture the opposite direction, so obviously I'm gonna flip it later on, but that's something that's easy. I wasn't really stressing that. So we're moving forward, doing more work, getting that skin, that face looking real good and cleaned up. Now I'm continuing to do some more dodging and burning. Again, I wanted it to look super smooth, and I'm doing some frequency separation here. If y'all need more of an in-depth breakdown on the specifics of Photoshop, shoot me a DM. I can maybe send you your own full-length tutorial. But for the purposes of these videos, these are quick hits so that you can see the whole process. That's always what I wanted to see out of this kind of content, was show me how to do it and I can figure some things out. But you know, some of us want a little bit more of an explanation. Go ahead and drop me a DM or shoot me an email, and we can go ahead and get you that content as well. So here, I'm cleaning up. I'm starting to do some highlight work, just adding a little bit of shine to the image. And now again, I'm always making sure that I pull in my sample image. Let's back that up a little bit here. So what's actually happening is I'm taking colors from the Secret Love cover and I'm gonna paint my own color palette. So basically you can go in Photoshop and sample a different color, and what we're gonna do is build out our own color palette based on what was going on here with the Secret Love cover. So what I'm gonna do is, once I take that color palette, I can actually use those colors as a gradient map over my image. Now, I don't want you to focus too much on gradient maps. We can get into it on a deeper level. At the root, I'm going to be able to take the colors from an image that was already done and apply it over the image that I have here in Photoshop. So that's what I did there. I basically created that palette from the other image, making sure that the light colors match the light colors from the other image, the mids, the darks. You can see it's kind of like a scale. So then now we take those colors and you create that gradient map, put it over the entire image, and then we're going to go ahead and start to tweak it and adjust it to where it starts to make sense. And like I told you before, we made sure that we did this in Photoshop because I knew I was going to paint out the rest of the image. So as we talked about, I decided to keep everything color, but then I went ahead and I flipped, or I created a mask around just the parts I wanted to be color, and the rest I'm gonna go ahead and throw it and make it black and white. So that's what we're doing here. Go ahead and just masking that thing out. I'm constantly checking the image to make sure I'm on par with it. Here I'm cleaning up that background. I had some of the house in the back, you know, fine tuning this thing, and it's already starting to look like where I want it to be. Go ahead and make sure that all of the little things, this is where you can start to spend a lot of time just making the small details, but we already hit the root of it. We already really hit the idea. Now I'm just kind of tweaking it to my liking, and this is where you can spend more time or less time, depends on the result that you want. So I actually went ahead and applied a couple of, you know, little things to the background. I noticed that if you look at the Vandross picture, there's a little bit of grit on that backdrop. So I applied a little bit of grit, and that's something that you can either, like when you set up your shoot, you can have a background that has the grit you want, or when you're using things like Photoshop, you can add it in. So there we go, guys. At this point, I was pretty much done. I did wanted to basically put it into that square album cover version and throw my name, Flick Refinery, similar to like what we saw on that album cover. So that's what I went ahead and I did next here. and just resizing things, typing fonts. That's another cool part about Photoshop. You can put your own custom fonts in and things. I'm not a graphic designer, so I'm not really sweating this part so much, but it does add to the overall effect of, you know, what we were going for, to just put it in that same format of the album cover. And bang, you know, we there. We home free. So bang, there we go. That's more or less the final result right there. All right, so as you can see, this is the final result. We definitely nailed this one. I learned a lot of different new things that typically I wouldn't have tried just in my regular work, which you can see over at Farad Hashem. My personal Instagram account is at Farad Hashem if you want to see more of the stuff that I usually do. But here, we definitely nailed the blue. You can see the shine coming in similar to the album cover image. And, you know, I nailed my posing. You know what I mean? I'm out here modeling now. So definitely make sure to subscribe. Share this video with your favorite Luther Vandross fan, somebody that you know rocks with Luther Vandross. Show them something cool, some new content. I appreciate everybody that shares, likes, and comments. And hit me up below and let me know of an album cover you love that you would like to see recreated. We can get into this whole creative process and not only see our favorite things being made, but get an understanding of how we can start to do this stuff ourselves. But I appreciate y'all for checking in with me today. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bells for me, and definitely make sure to keep tuning in each week. I'm gonna start dropping one of these every single week, so turn on them post notifications so you don't miss out on anything. I appreciate you. I'll check you out next time.